People are screaming.
There it is. There.
Look at that. Florida
Wait,
State. Woo! Wait, does Zach say Colorado?
that's what I
I'm just
thought.
kidding.
Oh,
It
No,
is Florida State.
no, he's got a spear in his hand.
that took way too
Fight,
long.
baby!
About to say that's
Fight, baby!
Congratulations,
Let's
Steve.
go!
Golly,
My
dude.
God! I mean,
the nerves have ran
just
off.
fight for FSU. Give me a
Holy
win here, my
cow,
brother.
dude. There, Hayes
Give
just
me
dropped
a
it.
win.
Hayes just dropped it, dude.
He dragged that out for the obvious.
Holy
It was so obvious, and he dragged it out. Like, it's crazy.
Calola, dude.
How did Hayes keep that under wraps? Like that guy's got the twitchiest Twitter finger I've ever seen in my life.
Unbelievable.
how he didn't put it out there is amazing to me. Let's go, baby.
A little much. Congrats, Steve. Well, Steve.
How do you take that long to set that up? Like, that doesn't even take that long.
I don't know. But, Dave, we're going to pass it over to Steve. Let 1,200 people listen to Steve talk about his new big commitment as you guys have just landed. Lester is a null, Steve. Let's hear, big guy.
Go ahead, 5
My gosh, we waited for it. We waited for it. I mean, we're talking about a top 20 nationally ranked, the number 2 quarterback overall in the country. 5-star kid out of Florida. We all know what the competition level is like in the state of Florida. That is a massive, massive pickup. 247 has him listed at a 99. On 3 is a 96. You can pick your poison. Again, we've talked about that ad nauseum on which recruiting site you can rank a person. But let's get into what FSU is getting with Charles Lester. 6'2", 185 now. He's going into his senior year. Who didn't grow a little bit when they got into their senior year? He's a rangy quarterback that can play either the field or the boundary side. And why that's important is because if you think about having to play both zone and man coverage, those times that you see the one-on-one of a wide receiver and a cornerback out there isolated on an island, and they hit that fade route, it's all about who's going to win the ball in the air. And that's what Charles Lester III can excel at. He's just got overall explosiveness. I mean, the guy is good in short and mid-range coverage. He does need to work a little bit on long range. I'm not saying that. He doesn't have the top range speed that some of these other corners do. But look, we're talking about a guy who, if in the first 15, 25 yards, he's going to be better than you. But he can sustain coverage outside of the 25 yards, but he just needs to work on a little bit on his long speed. Now, he can play press coverage as well. FSU loves to play press coverage because they like to get their corners in run game support. Getting a wide receiver out of their route within that first 5 yards, even if you can get them off by a step, maybe 2, that's going to throw off the entire timing of what a quarterback wants to do. Charles Lester can do that, and he can do that very well. Any static that you can create to get those guys just a little bit off of their natural wide receiver route tree is going to benefit a defensive line, a strong defensive line, which is what FSU has right now. And they've just got a farm of those guys coming one after the other after the other. His size alone, in space especially, is what you're looking for in a corner. And it just gives you so much flexibility to do different things on where you want to put him on the inside, the outside. He's not a nickel guy. I would not put this guy as a nickel. He doesn't have the size for it. He doesn't shed blocks well enough for it. I would say that he's going to be probably a 1-year project. I would say a sophomore high play guy, junior for 1-year starter, like guaranteed. What does this mean for FSU? And I want to touch on that because as we watched this and we were talking about it and we saw the chat kind of go through some of the different just motions. The biggest thing for me is that Norvell can not only build relationships, but he can also close, especially when there was a late push by another school that has a very, very, very good reputation of coming in and stealing your baby. That'll take
Sure.
your baby right out from under you. And Norvell was able to not only just build that reputation, but close. FSU had some misses in the past, for sure, when it came to closing on the kids that they had built reputations with. And I just feel like this time around, Florida State saw what was going on. They had the relationship. Lester was their guy. There was a late push, and every time Colorado threw a punch, we had defense. We threw a counter punch,
Sure.
one after the other after the other. Hats off to Colorado.
Yeah,
Hats
look,
off to Colorado.
I think you're spot on here too. You had that scare that this could happen again, where Deion could shove Norvell in the locker, and this gives you confirmation. I think you guys have been building up with Norvell over the last few years. The first couple of years, there was some struggle there. There were some question marks going into last year. Was he on the hot seat? Had a great year last year. The expectations for Florida State going into this year are absolutely huge. Look, I think you're nervous because of how high the expectations are, but you got to expect with a Heisman favorite quarterback coming into play, you should expect big things. You got a 6'7" and Williams, am I correct? As a wide receiver, we watched him last year a little bit. Guy's going to be an absolute threat as well. And this is just one more piece that was a question mark under Norvell. I've already given him the crown for the transfer portal between him, Lane Kiffin, and our boy out and Lincoln Riley out at USC. You got to give it to those three guys as being transfer portal kings. Coach Prime made a little bit of a splash this year, but nowhere near what those three have been able to do over the last 3 years. Norvell has dropped the ball up until this year, and dropping the ball is a light term, right? Because he made up for it in the portal. But we all know, and you and I both spoke, that you still have to build in the recruiting cycle, and now he is doing that. So it's like you've completed all your puzzles. Now you got to go win. That's what we're going to see coming up. But look, this is going to put you guys into top 8 now in the country. I did the calculator for you. Go ahead and head that for you, Steve, because you know how I like to always play with the calculator. I got to bet that you guys finished in the top 10. Lester was always being my guy. Now, JoJo Trader was also one that I thought you guys were going to pull. That flip is still a possibility, but KJ Bolden is next on your list coming up this Friday, which will be another pay-per-view event. That seems to be making a little bit of you guys are like the Colorado in that scenario. Georgia seems to be the ultimate lock, but FSU is making a little bit of late push here, so that'll be an interesting one. But all in all, congrats to you guys. Big land there. A great event. I had a good time. I had over 1,000 people in here, which was incredible to see. All of you guys, thank you who stopped by, dropped a like, subscribed. Happy to have you. Dave, we've got a whole show set up, so I don't know if you want to just hang on to the back area. You can. You're more than happy to. But Dave and I have...
I think I'm going to leave. You pretty much said everything that I was going to say, because I was going to say that, yeah, Florida State moves to number 8 right now, because I did the calculator too, just for Holly there, because he was a nervous wreck over there.
I appreciate it. I'm not going to lie. I don't know how to do the calculator. You guys know how to do it. I don't know how to do
Steve,
it. Like, I looked at it a couple times.
This is for you, Steve. This is for you.
Fight for FSU! Fight, baby, fight!
He's earned it. But yeah, Dave, thank you for stopping by.
Before I leave, all I wanted to say, it's like, Holly, when you really got to take a bad dump and then you finally get it all out. That's what it kind of felt like, being nervous towards that, and then finally,
that's true.
Florida State.